Dave, do you remember what the concept for our first ever podcast episode was?
No. Okay, so what? It was about 6 or 7 years ago now, right?
Yes, it was. It was our resolutions for 2018.
That was the topic. Was resolutions for 2018.
Our first ever ComicLab podcast episode was episode 1 on January 2nd, 2018. And it was all about the resolutions, the New Year's resolutions that we were going to use for 2018.
Oh my God. Was one of my resolutions like, well, you're going to start noticing changes about your body?
Well, funny you should mention that because we both sound about an octave higher than we sound now. I think doing a regular show has deepened our voices because we sound much higher than we do today.
It's funny you should say that. About 2 months ago, I listened back to a show. It wasn't all the way back to the start, but it was near the first year. And your voice to my ear, and a little bit my voice to my ear, the timbre, the pitch, everything was just so much higher.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. Do you think it's just from more talking that happens? I think actually that in advanced age, males might go deeper down the range. Do you think?
I think those are both true. Also, I think we got better equipment. I think we just got...
That could be true.
Yeah, I think we were able to get better microphones and stuff, and I think the recording quality, once we picked up an audio editor and all of that stuff, I think that made a big difference in how we sound.
Maybe, but also your register of your voice was so much higher 6-7 years ago. In fact, if I listen back to, and for folks that don't know it, Brad and I did a podcast before this called Webcomics Weekly for about a year and a half, 2 years?
A year and a half, yeah.
And your voice there sounds like, well, and I'm Brad Geiger, and I love having all sorts of fun.
Super high back then.
Anyway, I should say a huge hello to everybody because this is our very, very special 400th episode of ComicLab. And so I'm going to say hello, everybody, and welcome to ComicLab, the show for 400 episodes. It's been about making comics and making a living comics.
I'm Brad Geiger, the author of the Webcomics Handbook and the creator of Evil Inc.
And I'm his pal Dave Keller, cartoonist of Drive and Sheldon and co-director of the comics documentary Stripped.
And this week's 400th hour of comics advice is made possible by your support at patreon.com/comiclab. So Dave, let's talk comics.
For the 400th time, Brad, let's talk comics. I mean, actually, I should say it's actually our 800th time because we also do a secret special episode for Patreon pals every week called ProTips, which some folks might not know about. But 400 episodes, Brad. I remember when we started this, we said, if we can get through a year, that'll be pretty neat, you know?
Yeah. We were just, and I mean, it was kind of even before that, we found ourselves on the phone just talking about comics stuff. And over and over, you'd say, this ought to be a podcast. This could be a podcast. This would be so much fun if we did it as a podcast, because we kept finding ourselves just talking, about things going on in comics and what we thought about the craft and stuff like that. And it turns out you were right. This would make a great podcast because we've been doing it 400 episodes and counting. And you'd think we'd run out of things to talk about. And there are certain themes that come up evergreen, but we haven't run out of stuff to talk about yet.
I know. And I honestly don't feel like we will, both because, God, we love the art of cartooning. It's really one of the great joys in our adult life, just talking about cartooning. And also, just on a friendship level, I really, really look forward to and love my weekly check-in with Brad Geiger. It's been, I'm surprised to say it's like a grounding moment in my week of like a check-in of how am I doing, I'll tell you what it feels like to me. Do you remember how before Carl Reiner passed, Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner used to come together once a week and watch, was it Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune or something?
Jeopardy it was, I think, yes.
And that's what this feels like to me. It just feels like Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks getting together. But instead, we're talking about comics. We're making each other laugh. God, you make me laugh every week. And I could do it easily for another 400 episodes.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but we haven't broke the habit. In other words, you and I started talking on the phone. I'm looking at the clock right now, an hour and a half ago. We've been talking.
Oh yeah, before we turned on the mics, that's true.
We've been talking for an hour and a half already about certain things that are happening in the comics industry large. And you haven't even told me, we haven't even talked about San Diego yet. You just got back from.
I did,
but 3 or 4 times in the hour and a half that we've been talking on the phone, I said, we should be recording right now.
You did.
Because there's so many things to talk about, which we will get to. Believe me, we'll get to everything. But we fall into those same habits. We just start talking, and before we know it, hour and a half has gone by, and we realize that we need to start talking.
Yes, and so we've got a whole special episode this week to celebrate the 400th episode, where folks from literally all around the world have called in with their favorite memories of the show. But I just want to say my favorite memory of the show is that my life and my cartooning have been made better by talking with Brad Geiger for 400 episodes on ComicLab, and I'm super appreciative to you. You have made my life better.
I feel exactly the same way. This has been, I've become a better cartoonist as a result of this, and not for nothing, I've become a better person just being exposed to your thoughts and advice over the years. So I appreciate that.
Same, absolutely the same. So, Brad, without further ado, let's play our first clip coming in all the way from Scotland.
Oh.
Okay, Brad and Dave, it's George Mackay here from the Highlands of Scotland. I'm the creator of Egypts. My all-time favourite moment from the show is David's hatred of the Welsh.
Dave, did we ever come down and really quantify why you hate the Welsh so much?
Brad, let's not triple down on this. I have always loved the Welsh nation. They are a beautiful people of art and culture and history. And I would like the cultural attaché of Wales to stop contacting me.
Has that at least slowed down? Have they stopped, leaving stuff on your doorstep and stuff like that?
They've stopped throwing leaks at my front door, yes. No, I don't even remember how it started. I was accidentally making fun of the Welsh or something, or I did something. What happened? I don't even remember.
What a terrible show. I don't know what happened either. Next topic. All I remember is that it became a running gag that you hated the Welsh, and then it became like we got the idea that some people weren't catching on that it was a running gag, so then we just went with it.
I do remember we recorded a whole advertisement about how pro-Welsh we were. And I think we had the Welsh national anthem playing in the background or something. Oh my God, it's delightful.
A whole disclaimer after that show with very sentimental music behind it, saying about how you have an appreciation and love for all of the Welsh people.
Oh, sure. So Lord knows I won't try to pronounce any Welsh because they have an intolerably convoluted language. I love the Welsh. Let me say that again. I love the Welsh.
Intolerably convoluted. You're not doing yourself any favors over there.
I'm not digging myself out of this grave any faster. So, George, thank you for reigniting what can only be described as transnational incident. No, I love the Welsh. And, George, I got to say, I've never having heard your voice before, I am delighted to hear your voice. And it's also delighting to hear that you find our two American voices tolerable to you when you have such a melodic, delightful voice from the Highlands of Scotland.
I knew George was Scottish. I just never knew he was that Scottish. He's not just a little bit Scottish. He's very, very Scottish. He's burying the needle on Scottish right over there.
That's amazing. No, but George, as is always the case, gosh, we hope we get to meet you in person someday and shake your hand. That was a delightful call. Thank you so much. And as I don't know, George, are there comic shows in Edinburgh? I don't know if we.
I believe there are. That would be a good excuse for us to make a Scotland trip, is to get booked as guests to a Scottish comic convention.
Well, I've told you the story, Brad. One of my favorite places in the world is at Edinburgh, which is the Scotch Whisky Heritage Center, which is this hole-in-the-wall museum that celebrates the art and majesty of Scotch.
Yeah.
And the animatronics, I cannot emphasize this enough. The animatronics are fantastic. They're all like first generation 1952 animatronics. Yeah. And the one like there's like a 90-year-old Scotsman who, like, when the English leave Scotland, and it's him and a 10-year-old toasting with scotch that the English are leaving, and he's going, "I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that." It's just this really convoluted, anyway.
And the 10-year-old boy is next to him going, "I will do. And they've got now. Was that really first generation animatronics where they move all jerky and their voices are stilted, or is that just
hire an old Scotsman?
That's just how you behave after your fifth scotch.
They're just like, right, Rick, get in there. You're in the ring.
You're turning the barrel.
Oh, my God. All right, so let's move on to call number 2. I believe this one, Bradley, is coming in from San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Hi, Dave and Brad, dads and grads. This is David from San Francisco, and I'm a library assistant at the public library. My favorite moment has probably got to be when Dave pop quizzed Brad on the 4 C's of social media, which Brad had just invented. And Brad hesitantly recited that they were, in fact, content, curation, cremation, and kindness.
Content creation, cremation, and kindness. The 4 C's.
And I've been getting burned on that one ever since.
Oh, my God. Although, listen, the way some social media platforms go from time to time, it does feel like cremation. God. So you're not entirely wrong, Brad.
We should come up with we got to come up with some reason that makes cremation work. You know what I mean? At some point, we've just got to say, well, of course, I meant cremation, and here's what it means. It's when you take the ashes of an old platform and you transport it to a new platform.
That's that. Yes. Oh, yes. Brad. See, this is the talents of a good public speaker, is like taking an absolute 100% flub and then trying to spin it into gold. Yeah. Oh, no. What I meant is that Phoenix-like rising from the ashes after cremation, your new posts will land beautifully on the new social platform.
By the way,
I've been Brad Geiger, Queen Wave, Queen Wave, Queen Wave.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. So let's turn to our third clip, Brad, coming in from Kevin.
Hey, BG and DK, it's Kevin Zolden from Pizza Party at the Station, the creator of Kitty's Bordello. One of my all-time favorite moments is the 20 Comic Commandments. I've listened to the episode so many times that even that crappy house disco song, I have to shake it all the time, sporadically gets stuck in my head. Appreciate the advice. Happy 400th, y'all. Salute.
Salute. Bradley, can you remind listeners who might not know them, and listen, you don't have to recite them, but what was the concept of the 20 Comics Commandments?
Oh, okay, good, because you saw me reaching for my computer. I was going to see if I could find it really quick. The whole idea was, for our 200th show, we wanted to take the 20 pieces of advice that kept coming up time and time again, that we've heard ourselves repeating. As a matter of fact, while we had a break in the action just a minute ago, I went back and was looking through the transcript of the first ComicLab episode.
Right.
On the very first ComicLab episode, I said Kickstarter is free market research, right? And we've been given that advice ever since for 400 episodes. It's come up probably 40% of the next 400 episodes. And it was stuff like that, stuff that we just found ourselves saying over and over and over again. Everything you need to know about crowdfunding is in the word. First comes the crowd, then comes the funding, stuff like that. And so we put that all together. Your assistant, Beth, designed a gorgeous magnet that people ended up buying. We did a quick starter for it. And it just had each one of these pieces of advice in in one big paragraph, all the 20 things that we think that are really crucial in different categories. And the first one, do you remember what the first one was?
First, make a good comic. Nothing else matters until you do. That's number one. First,
do a good, yes, because nothing else mattered. And I I've got a few of those magnets hanging around in different places in the studio and in the house, and they hold up. It's still really good advice.
Yeah, and listen, we should do a reissue of that magnet at some point because so First Make a Good Comic was the first one. Own and control your work. Ideas aren't special. The execution of ideas are special.
Yes.
You can't get worse at something that you do every day, but Brad modifies that. You can't get much worse, I think is your new modification. It's
hard to get worse.
It's hard to get worse. Anyway, you can look up the image online and find all 20 of them, but I think it's fantastic because around the magnet, we also have stuff of like, the ghost with the say is boo. What's that Midwest thing that you say all the time?
Oh, yeah. I at one point I said, nobody's going to say boo about that. And you had never heard that phrase before.
Yes. And then we've got Dr. Hidalgo's Lugubrious Cherry Soda, which is Brad's favorite cherry soda. We've got Making a Go of It, which is the woman that, or was it the guy at Comic-Con that came up to me and says, well, Dave Kellen, look at you making a go of it.
Yeah. You're my favorite artist who pairs good writing with so-so art. You're really making a go of it.
And then we had the woman from Sci-Fi Con is also on 20th Comics Commandments, who was like really encouraging me to go to a Sci-Fi Con because God knows that would make my career suddenly click. So
if one of these people didn't call in and say my musical performance of Do You Want to Be in Sci-Fi isn't their favorite moment, I am going to flip a table by the end of this episode.
Okay, can I tell you something? Honest to God, I know this is a remembrance episode, so I'm going to let this fly. Every once in a while, I'll be falling asleep and my wife will say, what are you laughing at? And I'll be like, Brad, I was just remembering him singing, Do You Want to Be in Sci-Fi? Because, my God, first of all, you have a lovely voice. But second of all, you spun a little bit of Midwest in it to it's like, when you're like, do you want to get some stars? And you had like... It was kind of Carol Channing, kind of like Midwestern, and I loved every bit of it. Like, anyway, so we gotta find a way to include that maybe as the stinger of this episode.
Maybe we'll make that the stinger. We'll see if we can. I'm sure I can find it someplace. It's one of my favorite moments from 400 episodes is you singing "Do You Want to Be in Sci-Fi?" It's fantastic. Anyway, let's jump into our next clip. This is coming in from Red Cat Bradley. This one's coming in.
Hi, Dave and Brad. It's your friend Kat from Issaquah, Washington, the creator of Witches and Sorcerers and Dinosaur Necromancer. Wanted to congratulate you on 400 wonderful episodes of ComicLab. Holy crap, that's a lot of episodes. Please give yourself some cookies to celebrate because that is an achievement. But nonetheless, my all-time favorite moment from the show is from an episode I like to call Salmon a la Goose, otherwise known as Dave's first time to Juneau, Alaska, and talking about the Alaska Robotics Comic Con and camp. And the cold open starts with Dave talking to Brad about drinking some wonderful spring water from the Mendenhall Glacier and then realizing a goose had shat in it.
And at one point, Nikki and I wandered off towards the glacier melt, the little river that flows down from the glacier, because we're destroying our planet. Anyway, so there's glacial runoff, and it looks pure and clear and wonderful. And I was like, oh man, what would it be like to drink water that's been frozen for 500,000 years? This is amazing. Yeah. I'm gonna scoop down and get a little water and just try some delicious, pure, fresh glacial water.
Yeah, how can you not? It's sitting right there. Yeah.
It's right there. So I kind of crouched down because it's a very muddy riverbank, and I crouched down. I get a little scoop of water. And I drink it. I swear to God, I stand up and I turn and I see two Canadian geese right upstream. One of them actively taking a shit right as I turn.
Just pooping away.
Just happily pooping. Not and to make it comedically worse, it would have been great if he was just looking me right in the eye.
Yeah, just looking us dead in the eye and saying that sea turtle is my friend.
So he just looks at me and goes, "New to Juneau, huh?"
Welcome to Juneau.
Welcome to Juneau. Welcome to Juneau. Allow me to give you the old Juneau welcome as a Canadian goose.
It's fantastic and makes me giggle just thinking about it now. Also bonus, hey bear. Never gonna live that down. Thank you for so many wonderful episodes, and I look forward to listening to them all in the future. Bye-bye.
Brad, okay, so
there's so much to unpack in that message.
There's a
right?
500,000-year-old glacier overlooking Juneau, right? And by the way, it's absolutely melting. We're ruining our planet. Tip, we're ruining our planet. But anyway, I have since learned that this is a stupid idea, but I was like, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to drink water, Brad, that last moved as a free liquid, I don't know, 40,000, 80,000, 100,000 years ago? And so I'm like, I'm going to drink. By the way, I'm also drinking 40,000-year-old bacteria. Great. Good job, Dave. You're a genius.
Yeah.
What a great job. But I'm drinking the water and I look up and there's freaking 4 Canadian geese and one of them is actively pooping in the water right upstream from me. And he's looking at me like, hey, dummy, welcome to Juneau. Here's a little something for your water.
That water hadn't moved in 40,000 years, but the goose moved just 4 seconds ago.
Yeah, the goose had a movement, all right. Yeah. He had a movement. And then for those who don't remember, Hey Bear they gave a warning to the campers at Alaska Comics Camp, which is one of my favorite things in comics at the moment. And it was, hey, listen, if you see a black bear, and even a brown bear, although you're not going to do very good against a brown bear, if you see a black bear, make yourself as big as you can and say, hey, bear, hey, bear. And so I had a whole runner going with Dave Malky about Stan Lee being at camp going, hey, bear, all right, fantastic. No need to eat your old pal, Stan. Okay, that's fantastic. Hey, listen, have I told you about the Fantastic Four? Listen, they're a family that's been launched into space, and they're hit by, I don't even remember what they were hit by. Were they hit by quantum rays? Or
Cosmic rays.
Cosmic rays. That's so early Marvel, cosmic rays. They were hit by cosmic rays. Oh, my God. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump into the next voicemail we got from Super D, Brad.
Hi, Brad and Dave. It's Super D, the creator of Rosebuds. Congratulations on 400 episodes. My all-time favorite moment from the show is whenever Mr. Dave mimics Brad. Like, his accent and the voice and the things that he uses always brings a smile to my face. Congratulations again, you guys.
Okay, so when I mimic
all right,
Brad,
Mr. Dave, let's hear it.
Now, what do I do? Oh, is it when I do the I've been Brad Geiger? Is that when I do it?
Yeah, and the Midwest accent, and you play up the Midwest accent, and it always ends the same way with a self-announcement.
Oh gosh, I've been Brad Geiger. I mean, I don't. The Michigan, you so rarely bust it out, but it's usually when we do a drunk ComicLab. For those that haven't heard it, but you get a beer or two into Brad Geiger, and suddenly the Midwest comes out, and it's all stories about bowling, and it's all stories about having to salt the road and get the car out of the snowdrift and this and that. And my little California chin is resting on my California hands, just listening magically to this Midwesterner describe Michigan to me. I love it.
My family tells me whenever we go up to Bad Axe and spend a week up there with my family, by about Tuesday, I've gone full Midwest, and everything. They just sounds Midwest, and I'm using Midwest, colloquialisms. They say usually it takes me about till Tuesday, it locks in, and then it's the entire drive home, 13 hours, until finally I get back into East Coast mode.
Yeah, it's delightful. I love talking to you the day or two after you come back from Michigan, because you have snapped right back into it, and I'm here for it. Anyway, Brad, this next call comes in from a little bit further away than Michigan, so let's have a listen to that one.
Hi, Brad and Dave. This is Margrethe here from the Netherlands, and I'm the creator of a lot of comics, and you can find most of them on Substack. My all-time favorite moment from the show is when Dave does his voices. I just love it, I believe this all started somewhere in the first year. 2018, when he did a whole batch of ComicLab ads in different accents like Scottish and Californian and New Yorkese, and I would really love to hear that fragment again. Please include also Brad's reactions to this, because his laughter is also extremely infectious. Thank you very much, and keep on going as you go, and on to the 800th episode. Woo-hoo-hoo!
First of all, I think we have a new winner for Best Scottish Brogue, and it's actually Marguerite, which is George. I'm sorry you've been knocked out.
Yep. We have a new person in first place for Best Scottish. It's not Scottish, but how can you not give that voice an award?
That's delightful. It's funny because now I wonder what American sounds like to that accent. Do you know what I mean?
I think we sound a lot like Yeehaw! Give me my guns. I'm going to have a hot dog.
Hey, welcome to ComicLab, everybody. Good luck. Pew, pew. All right, so fantastic. We got a whole great old show for you today.
Concern it, you vermin. I think we sound a lot like Yosemite Sam, you know?
Oh, my God.
You vermin, I'll be over there soon. Just make sure that you have your guns on the table.
I got to tell you, though, the older we get, the more we sound like Porky Pig. We're like, beep, 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 with our hesitations and our flumperings. But first of all, just a delightful voice. Secondly, I'm so fascinated to hear what the comics world is like in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Brad, early in my career, I was in a comic book in the Netherlands called Tommy Og Tigern magazine, which was the Calvin and Hobbes magazine. And and it was delightful because I felt like, oh boy, I get to be next to Calvin and Hobbes. And then it was translated. I wonder if I could find it. But I think, if I'm not wrong, the Netherlands is largely transitioning to English. And you can, sweet caller can correct me on that because I may be wrong. But I feel like, isn't the number something like 70 or 80% of the Dutch now speak English, if not as first language, super, super strongly? Isn't that right, Brad?
I don't know for sure, but I'm not in any place to doubt you.
Yeah, well, let's spout facts that we're going to immediately get wrong. Our listener.
However, do you remember doing ComicLab ads in different accents? Do you remember doing that bit?
No, that's how long this show is. By the way, this whole remembrance show is going to be like, I don't remember that.
What a terrible idea for a show.
But I do. New York is one that we fall into a lot because the Bronx specifically.
I like your cab driver. You actually brought the cab driver back just recently, and I was happy to have Jimmy the cab driver back on the show.
Jimmy the cab driver is fun just because it's what was he doing? He's like, hey, I'm critiquing comics over here. Hey, all right, fantastic. So the thing you need to know about the Hulk, Brad, is he's actually Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner's got tremendous anger issues. But when he gets so mad, that's when the Hulk comes out, Brad. That's when the Hulk comes out, and it's tremendous destruction, and I love it. I'm here for it. But I also love Blankets, which is a graphic novel that's a little more introspective. So listen, Jimmy's Jimmy's got a full range of comics that he enjoys.
That's right.
Yes,
Jimmy cannot be boxed in.
Yes, I enjoy a young photojournalist who's also been bitten by a spider. Of course, that's a given. But you know what? I also enjoy Ducks by Kate Beaton, which was a beautifully written book, and I enjoyed it tremendously. So, I like the whole thing. All right, well, let's move us down to now. This is a clip that Brad isolated without telling me about. Do you want to lead this up to this one, Brad?
This is my favorite moment. Now, this was not part of the public show. This was part of ProTips. So if you're not a ComicLab backer and you don't get pro tips, this is a little taste of what you're missing out on. But Dave was talking about his comic drive and a little background on how one of the species handles reproduction. So go ahead and hit that.
Okay, here we go. I remember this clip from coming in from patreon.com/ComicLab. In my comic strip or my graphic novel of Drive, I have a species that are literally clones of one another. They reproduce not by the way
sex
humans
is the word you're looking for.
Oh my God!
This is the most Dave Kellett moment ever. Oh, it was so beautiful because I sat there watching you struggle for the word. And it was like, I knew if I waited too long, you were going to get to it and it wasn't going to be funny anymore. So you can see on the screen, my eyes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, sex, you're looking for the word.
It was so perfect because I was genuinely trying to recall the word parthenogenesis, which is not an easy word to recall, right? And so like my brain is trying to parse it. And in the meantime, Brad comes in with the shiv to my kidneys and just absolutely lands the blow because of course the word that I was struggling with in this joke was the word sex. And it was perfect. Brad landed the joke perfectly.
Wait a minute. I don't think we've ever discussed this part of it before. You didn't want to say sex because you'd rather say carcinogenesis?
Carcinogenesis? No, the way these aliens reproduce is parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis,
which is a form of like budding. It does exist in nature. It's like the body buds out and like a new life form is produced from that budding, but it's a form of self-cloning, if you know what I mean. Anyway,
Right.
my brain genuinely couldn't remember that complicated word. And then out of nowhere, you come in with sex, Dave. The word you're looking for there is sex. And it was so perfect because I always blush and so meanwhile, I'm frustrated trying to find this word. And my cheeks instantly go bright red when Brad goes, the word you're looking for there is sex. Anyway, let's jump into our next clip. This is coming in from Rob. Brad will play this one next.
Hi, Brad and Dave. It's Rob Schaff, the creator of Go-Go Mock Rocket Sheep. My favorite ComicLab moment is when Brad is describing the Christmas lights that he's installed at his place and how he's so excited because he can change the color of the lights. And then he describes his neighbor's lights. And anyway, the punchline of that whole thing is literally like, if I ever need to laugh, I just think about that. It's so perfectly delivered. I'm not going to deliver it here because I'll just botch it. But anyway, such a great episode. So good.
So, Brad, I do remember when you installed the sort of LED light-changing lights, right?
Yes.
The new ones that they come out with in the last decade. But I don't remember what the punchline was. What was the punchline of having these weird lights?
The whole deal was, and by the way, this past July, the Geiger porch was all done up in red, white, and blue. For the 4th of July.
Fantastic.
And in October, it'll be orange and green and purple. I've been using the heck out of those things. And sometimes when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, I had them all in Eagles colors and they were flashing every night that there was a game night. I've gotten such enjoyment out of those freaking LED lights. But then you go, have your neighbors commented on them? And I go, no. I think they're intimidated.
By your LED lights. Oh God. Some of my favorite memories from the show are Brad Geiger homeowner, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know if you remember this, but you once, I think it was during the pandemic, for Halloween, you built a candy distributing ghost. Okay. So what people need to know is that Brad is at a brick walk-up. What do you call them? What's the phrase?
It's a row house, but it's got stairs that go up to the porch.
Right. And so the point of that being is that Brad is at an elevated space from where the kids are, right, who are coming around to trick or treat. And so Brad thinks to himself, hey, I'm a handy guy. I'm going to build a little ghost that could distribute Halloween candy. So you get like a 4-inch piece of PVC pipe and you rig it up to the back of the ghost's mouth. And your thought was, I'm going to drop the candy down and it'll plop very pleasantly into the kid's little uplifted basket.
I built a little hopper, like a little bucket at the end that the ghost was holding, a little trough.
Sure.
And so the idea was the candy gently slides down the PVC pipe out of the ghost's mouth and deposits into the trough where the kid could pick it up. It was a fantastic plan and it was gorgeous.
So here's the thing that Brad didn't factor on. Number one, the viscosity between polished PVC and a plastic candy wrapper is like off the charts, right? And then number two, this ding dong mounts it at like a 90-degree angle of incline. So the candy is coming at the kid like an SR-71 going over Russia. And of course, he puts a little curve at the end of the tube like a dingus. And so this candy's coming at Mach 4 at a kid's head. And it just beans kid after kid after kid on Halloween. And
We had videos set up. We had videos set up, and there were so many videos of Tootsie Roll coming out and just nailing the kid right in the eye. And then, they're covering their eye and staggering back, and more things are coming out, being pelted out at them. It was so funny because it did turn into kind of like a projectile delivery system.
Oh my God. So long story short, Brad's homeowner's insurance is like 5 times higher than it used to be because of that.
Oh my God. Yeah, because they've decided I'm a menace.
Oh God. Hey gang, if you're listening while you work, take a minute to stand and stretch.
And while you're doing that, we'll tell you why you should join us on Patreon.
Yeah, because when you do, you'll get hours and hours of podcasts that we've recorded just for backers.
And exclusive Patreon posts that go even deeper on ComicLab topics.
And you'll get access to our exclusive Discord server, a thriving community of professional cartoonists.
So you can support the show you love and Get tons of actionable resources for your own cartooning.
And ho Nelly, if you want even more comics goodness in your life, check out the new drawing show that we're doing with our pal Kevin McShane over at wrongwayshow.com. That's wrongwayshow.com.
In each episode, we'll show you how to draw your favorite cartoon characters the wrong way.
Now, everybody, let's talk comics. All right, so anyway, let's move on, Brad, to another comment. This one's coming in from Brian, and I will play that now, my friend.
Hey, guys. It's Brian Mahan from Abington, PA, the creator of Be Misery. And my all-time favorite memory of the show is the weekend of the live recording at the Schultz Museum back in November of 2022. Thanks a lot.
Wow.
That was
he was at that live show. Brian was.
Yeah, and I think we with a group of 15 to 30 listeners, we went out for beer and pizza afterward, which was also a delight. Do you remember that? That was great.
We had so much fun. Where'd we find it? Was like a park, or no? We were at a bar, and they had those little things that would heat. They were outdoor heaters with the fire.
Oh yeah.
And we sat out there in a semicircle talking with a small group of people well into the night that night, because it was kind of one of those things nobody really wanted to go home.
Right,
nobody wanted the night to end because we were having so much fun. And we just sat there talking comics for hours and of course, sipping on some tasty beverages and enjoying the night air. And it was absolutely wonderful.
It was absolutely delightful. And let's
that.
not bury the lead. The highlight was just being able to visit and then speak at the Schultz Museum itself.
Yeah.
Which the staff could not have been nicer to us. And I still use that little Schultz sketchbook that they gave us. Do you remember that one? The little, do you still have that one?
I've got the sketchbook. I've got the little peppermint patty tote that we take down to the farmer's market on Saturdays.
Oh, would you put on your meat shirt and your peppermint patty tote?
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I'm so thankful to Jeannie and Jeannie Schultz and the whole staff at the Schultz Museum. They were very, very kind to Brad and I, and it was an absolute delight to be up on stage there with you. Although I have to say, I think one of the most unflattering photos you and I have ever taken.
Oh my God!
Someone took, because the the audience level of the Schultz Museum is about 5 to 8 feet lower than the stage.
Yes.
And let's just say that this was a point in our life, Brad, where you and I were enjoying the finer things in life. Chocolate, cookies, cakes. And we both decided,
I don't think either one of us has turned 50 at that point, or if we had, we were just on the cusp of 50.
You and I were in far worse shape when we gave that talk. I remember this.
Yes.
And for some reason, both you and I are like, oh, we should wear nice shirts to the Schultz Museum and show a little respect. So we had like these button-down, tucked-in shirts that were doing us no favors.
And the buttons were just holding on for dear life. You can see the buttons just
You've never seen a shirt work harder. We looked like that scene in Boba Fett where the two huts are being transported on the cart. Do you remember that? So it's just Brad and I up on stage going, bring me Solo and the Wookiee. And it's just, it was not fantastic.
I mean, you see like Instagram influencers when they're doing selfies, they always put the phone up high and they look up at it because it makes them. And so this was just the opposite. Not only were we both maybe carrying a couple extra pounds we shouldn't have, but also then the camera angle was exactly the opposite to make us look even bigger than we were before.
And also we had 100% top-down lighting too, which was also doing us no favors.
Oh my God!
So a moment that I wanted to cherish, like, oh yeah, I'm on stage with my pal Brad on the Charles Schultz stage. Oh, how delightful! And then you look at it and you go, Jabba Wookiee. And you're like, oh my God,
these two guys. Although what I do remember is walking out there on stage, looking out into the audience, and realize that we had done a really good job of filling that auditorium. Like there was a lot I was expecting a few people, like a little clapping from one or two people. We had a bunch of our supporters who had showed up, and you can hear it if you go back and listen to the show. It's a really good show because we were immediately started playing off of that energy.
Absolutely. And we had folks flying in from, I remember, New York, Ohio, Toronto. I remember there were Philly folks. I don't think you had brought them along. They were separate from you. Yeah. And anyway, it was an absolute delight.
I happen to remember nobody from Scotland. George. There was nobody from Scotland there.
George, Marguerite, we didn't see anybody coming in from the Netherlands. I'm a little bit offended that you didn't make that 20-hour flight to
nobody
California.
came from Wales either, but we kind of get that.
Listen, the ambassador from Wales already said they weren't coming, so I tried to make amends and it did not work. But let's jump in, Brad, to our next clip, and this one's coming in from Art by Mesa.
Hi, Brad and Dave. This is Art by Mesa, creator of the comic Pravis, and I really loved your branding happiness episode. I think it's a topic that's incredibly invaluable for creatives, since understanding our branding helps us understand the audience that we're speaking to and what they're looking for out of us. You had mentioned in the episode how you went to Disney and how everything there was branded for like a specific experience.
Yeah.
And I really do think that being able to communicate the experience that a reader will get out of our stories is sometimes one of the hardest things for us to do, but also one of the most important. The language we use and the marketing we use is really everything when it comes to getting our stories into the hands of the right people.
Absolutely. And I think all credit to Brad Geiger for that whole episode, because I think you had put together that whole concept and topic. And as is always the case, all the better ideas come from Brad on the show. And I will say that at the end of 400.
I don't remember. I remember that being more from you than me.
Oh,
but
maybe
I
it
do
was.
Remember,
anything you want to expand on about that, Brad?
No, well, that it was also a very good episode. It was one of our early episodes.
It was,
and if you, in fact, that was the title of the show, was Branding Happiness. So you can search that one out very easily and find it on one of the platforms. But it was very much, as a matter, just to tie it in, our first episode in 2018, I was just looking through the transcript, and you were describing you had taken your family to Disneyland before the recording of that.
Oh,
but
okay.
Your kids were so much smaller that you must have been carrying one of them around the entire day. And you said you were just exhausted. Your back was hurting. Your arms was. You were happy outwardly, but you were just exhausted from carrying kids around all week.
Well, you know what's funny about, and this I know that I'm not alone in this. All of us, when we go to Disney, the night of that Disneyland trip, everybody has an Odin sleep where you're like, I could sleep for 20 hours. Because I once did the Apple Watch, what do you call it? Not speedometer. What do you call it when you track miles walked?
The pedometer. It counts your steps.
Yes. Pedometer. And
yeah.
I had done 16 miles. And like, I who normally at best walk a mile a day, and so Disney wipes you out. But anyway, yes, to the point about branding happiness. And again, all credit to Brad for his brilliant insights over the years on branding but my core thought is that comics ultimately should let people know that they're not alone and bring joy to them in a harsh life. So yeah, that's my core aspect to what I try to brand my comics is that this little moment that you're with my comics, I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier by giving you a little bit of joy. And Brad's going to try to give you a little bit of something else. We talked about that too.
I'm going to bring you joy. It's just going to be a different type of joy.
It's a different way of describing joy. Hey, I've been Jimmy the Academy. All right.
But I will say this in all honesty. A lot of times, if I'm talking to somebody or if they're asking advice on a consultation, I will tell them, look at Dave's social media platforms. Look at how Dave talks on social media, because you really do the branding happiness thing well. And it's not a put on. It comes very organically. But even down to your word choices and your topic choices and how you're putting things across, that branding happiness concept comes through because everything is happy, upbeat, very friendly, cheerful. You're not necessarily ever going to say, I stubbed my toe today and it hurts and I'm sad and blah, blah, blah. Those are the types of things that may happen in your life, but we're very unlikely to hear about them on your social media. Much more likely, we hear about things that make us feel kind of good. I was saying to my wife just the other week, because, long story short, this is a tangent, but after avoiding it for years, we finally got Apple Plus. Because there was something we wanted to watch, and so we got Apple Plus.
Oh, Severance. I hope it's Severance. Severance is fantastic.
After many, many people telling me that I should watch Ted Lasso, I finally watched Ted Lasso so I could see what everybody was so nuts about. Like, what is this Ted Lasso phenomenon? What's everybody so crazy about? And I watched the first season, and I turned to my wife and I said, I don't see the big deal. But then again, I've known Dave Kellett for 20 years. Dave Kellett was Ted Lasso before Ted Lasso was Ted Lasso. He was Dave's, as far as I'm concerned, you're the original. All this idea of Ted Lasso being kind of an upbeat, cheerful optimist that, does amazing things through his optimism. I've seen that for 25 years now.
Well, that's incredibly kind. Oh my goodness, I'm genuinely caught off guard by that. That's very nice of you to say. Yeah, like my wife always says that I enjoy joy, and I think that's true.
Yeah.
I seek out and I try to cultivate joy. And one of the reasons why I love laughing with you every week is that, my God, your laughter is invigorating, and your laughter is joy filled. You laugh quickly and easily and heartily, and God, find yourself a friend that laughs with as much gusto as Brad Geiger, and you won't regret it. It's a dang joy. That's my wife calling right now. That never happens during the podcast.
Well, see if she's got anything nice to say about me too.
Should I check in? She's like, is that Brad Geiger? Did he ever pay us back the $50 he owes us?
Does Brad Geiger remind you of anybody from TV?
Oh, well, I do. Yes, I don't know if you remember the Boba Fett episode where no, but the point is, as far as branding joy, life is hard, and comics should be a little bit of a break from that, is my philosophy. And whenever I do find myself tweeting something that's negative, I invite the audience to watch that tweet, because very often within an hour, I'll usually delete it because no one needs it from me. Yeah. No one needs it from me. Like, I got it out of my system and then I go, what was I doing? No one needs to hear my complaint about
what is this? Yeah. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Because no one needs it from me. And also, I got it out of my system, but now it's fine. I'm fine. Life is too short to complain.
I'm better now.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so let's move on, Brad, to, I think, our penultimate, which is one of my favorite words in comics, penultimate comics, coming in from Rob.
Hey, Brad and Dave. It's Rob from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm the creator of the podcast, Startups for the Rest of Us, where I have quoted either of you many times. So if you've heard someone find your show from the Startups podcast, that's me.
That's delightful.
My all-time favorite moment from ComicLab is the two times that Dave has gotten absolutely indignant about people trying to correct his grammar or define what a comic book and a graphic novel are. Oh, no. And both times, Dave has said, motherfucker, I have 3 master's degrees in English. Or maybe it's 2, I don't remember. But it just, those moments are absolute chef's kiss moments of the normally chill Dave getting spicy.
Dave, what is it up to now? 2 or 3 master's degrees?
Oh my God. Well, it's 2, but also I love that this comes right after I'm just like, and that's why you'll never hear a negative comment from Dave Kellett.
As long as you're not correcting him on his grammar, then you're going to get an earful.
Yeah, they want to come up and stuff like, well, I always try to be chipper. Do. I bet Dave Kellett. And then the next one is this.
Hey, I've got some thoughts on graphic novel. MFer, I've got 2 master's degrees. Sit and listen.
You know what it is? I think it's just the buried anger that, like, what do those 2 master's degrees do for me? So I need this, Brad. I need to have the win of 2 wasted master's degrees. Because, the first one was on 18th century comics and building the sense of nation in England through comics. Yeah. With Hogarth and Gilray and Cruikshank and stuff. And the second one was World War II comics and Philip Zeck in Britain. And both of them I love tremendously and are useless. And so I think that's why I need this win.
Well, you need something to show for those master's degrees.
Absolutely.
Have you ever, in all honesty, thought about like publishing a follow-up or making those more readily available to somebody who wanted to read them, for example?
Yes. So I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this. The digital file that I have of one of the master's degrees is like 19 versions of external hard drive back. And so I would have to get like a SCSI cord to a USB, to a USB, to a, you know what I mean? Like it would, I don't even know how I would get it onto a modern computer. And also I think it's like some super ancient, I wrote it Microsoft Word with embedded images, and it was so old. I think it's like Microsoft 2, you know, it would work probably. But they're both available. One is at UCSD's Public Lending Library. Just search for the name Dave Kellett. You'll find that one. The other one is at the University of Kent in Canterbury, England. You can search in the Public Library there. It is held physically because in both cases, I don't know if you knew this, Brad. You have to print and bind your master's degree in order to submit it formally to the library as part of the process.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, well, at least they used to do it that way. So both of my master's degrees, if you want to be bored, you can read about 18th century comics in England and the building of the nation state, and you can read about Philip Zek, World War II comics. Wow. And boy, I invite you to.
It would be fun just to hear your voice at that point in your life. Like, to hear what you had to say about that stuff and to hear how you write back then, I think it would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would sound like this. Oh boy, I've been Dave Kellett. I'm sure I'm 21 and trying to write about comics. Oh boy. This is my backup in case comics don't work out. I can teach the history of comics. Because that's what it was. Brad, that's why I did the master's degrees. I was like, well, if I can't break into comics, I'll teach about the history of comics. That'll be fun. Would
you ever like go down to a local, I'm sure in your area, there's lots of opportunities. Would you ever pitch like a comics history class?
Well, it is funny that you should mention that because I just went back to Notre Dame for the first time in 30 years, right?
Yeah.
They were excited that I was back. And so I got a golf cart to go around campus, Brad. The university gave me a golf cart. I was very excited about that. Yes. And then I got to sit down with the dean of the Arts and Letters department. And after talking with her, I was like, I kind of want to pitch her on me taking a year to set up a sequential art program at Notre Dame and then get it up and running, hire a couple people. Like, you know, it would be more of a, what would you call it? Not a degree, but a focus. You know how they do that sometimes like, because I don't think you could immediately snap your fingers and have it be a major, but I would love to do a focus and sequential art at Notre Dame. And Brad, this idea came out of nowhere. Like 6 months ago, I never would have had this idea, but I go to campus and I immediately feel homesick for campus. And I also was like, it'd be fun to set up a sequential art program at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to do it. But that was the thought.
Yeah, because I totally understand. Like all of a sudden you get this lightning strike and it's like, oh my God, I could do this. Like you could pitch
I could do it.
They could, it's not impossible. In other words,
I know for a fact that I could strong arm my way onto the staff and then strong arm my way to getting a focus going. It would take about a year or two, and I would probably have to find my own chair funding. Like I'd have to go out to alumni. You know, you have to fund a chair or fund this.
How much does it cost to fund a chair?
Well, how much does a professor make? $150,000, $200,000 a year, something like that. So you'd have to.
Could you kickstart it? Oh. I'm serious as a heart attack.
I'm not saying no to that. That's interesting. Could I kickstart?
That is an attainable number in a Kickstarter.
Yes.
And you've got so much stuff that you could use for rewards. But you could say, I'm funding my chair to start a comics curriculum at Notre Dame.
Has anybody ever done that in academia? I don't know.
I have no, but screw them. They after you get done doing it, they'll all be doing it.
Wouldn't that be kind of fun though, Brad, to try to fund your own chair through Kickstarter?
Yes.
And then I just tell Notre Dame, look, here's the check. Now pay this back to me.
They don't care. They don't care where the money comes from, do they?
Well, I mean, you would hope they would care, but yes, you're right. University is like, oh, I'm looking a blind eye as the mob gives us $1 million. Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, see, now I want to see you do it even more because now it's kind of a challenge to make this concept work.
Yes, because here's my take. is that I know SCAD exists, and I know, what is it called? CCS, Center for Cartoon Studies exists.
Center for Cartoon Studies.
And I know SDSU has a little bit of comics in San Diego, and I know Michigan State has a little bit of comics in Michigan, and I know that Yale does just a really teeny little amuse-bouche of comics in New Haven. But I would love to get a top 20 university in the country having a full focus on sequential art. And anyway, I'm not going to do it. I'm saying this out loud. I'm not going to do it. But I think I could strong arm Notre Dame into setting this up. And I am going to fly back at some point to talk to him about it.
I have. Wait a minute. I'm not going to do this. I am going to fly back and talk to him at some point. But I'm not going to. And meanwhile, I can hear this poor sap at Notre Dame saying, all right, listen. That's the last time we give a golf cart to anybody.
I know.
You know that the trouble you got us into here, Gary? Why did we give this
son of a bitch a golf cart? Look at now he wants to set up a chair. What is this?
Next time we just give him a golf ball. He'll be just as happy.
Yeah, like give him a shiny object. He's mentally he's a 4-year-old. He was so excited.
No more golf carts. This guy's trouble.
I was so excited about having the golf cart though. I'm not kidding.
Who wouldn't be?
To tool around your old campus, but now at a speed of 30 miles an hour. It's so fun. It was so fun.
I can't wait until you're 85 years old and got your first mobility scooter. You're going to be insufferable.
Well, because I'm not going to do this. But
Can you imagine going around Walmart at the speed of 10 miles an hour?
Here was my thought, though, is that wouldn't it be fun if you and I are teaching classes at Notre Dame and then we invite Scott McCloud over to come give a talk, or we invite so-and-so or this and that. We invite Raina in. I think it would be so fun to have a little program in the Midwest that, like, the winters are cold. You got nothing to do. Let's focus on cartooning, you know?
We just take a little sabbatical for a semester.
Yes.
I fly out. You fly out. We do the Brad and Dave show.
We rent a house together like pals. Come on.
Like fraternity brothers. We could have our own fraternity.
You could bring your Christmas lights.
I can't wait to haze you.
I can't wait to see those South Bend kids get beamed in the eye by a candy by Brad's ghost. We can invite George and Magritte out from the Netherlands and from Scotland. They could have an American Midwest winter. That'd be great.
I'm telling you, if we put this out on a Kickstarter, we could fund it. We could fund the whole darn thing.
I mean, if you think that I'm not going to Google after this recording whether or not anyone has kickstarted an academic chair, you're lying to yourself, because I'm going to go Kickstarter. I'm going to go Google this and see if this can be done.
I'm telling you. And by the way, would you then become the chairman of your own department?
No. That's a whole rigmarole. But you can. People do fund specific studies and focuses in colleges by giving a gift of XYZ. Could I do it through Kickstarter? And would people give up $200,000 to fund a chair in sequential art? I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't think they would.
Okay, but I mean, you could set up rewards. You've got lots of stuff you've got in stock that you could set up as a reward.
Yeah.
You still got copies of that book where Gramps is making a muscle?
Still got it. Yeah,
still got it. You could throw those at people for a reward. Hell, we'll kill two birds with one stone. We'll have them stand at the end of the ghost chute. We can put the book through it.
Hey, kid, I'm Brad Geiger. Here comes your book. Boom!
Here comes your
Brad
book.
Geiger.
Ah!
Hey, we're funding the chair over here. Hey! I mean, listen, I love how on a 400th Remembrance show, we also now have a cockamamie new plan to try. Oh, my God. Which, by the way, I should mention that on next week's episode of Comic Lab, we didn't do it yet. We are going to do the Comic Lab social media challenge, where I'm going to delete all social media from my phone. So tune into that next week.
Yes.
But Brad, let's close out the show today with one of our dear friends, Erica Moen, calling in to tell us about Erica's favorite moment of the show.
Hi, Brad and Dave. It's Erica Moen, the co-creator of Oh Joy Sex Toy. And my favorite moment on your show was, this is really self-indulgent, but it's when you guys answered a question from me. And it's when I was really struggling and I didn't know how to keep going forward with comics. And you guys spent a good long time just telling me how to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I really treasured that episode, and I downloaded it, and I've listened to it multiple times over the handful of years since then. And it's just a moment that I've just always really treasured. And also your entire archive. I love all your episodes that you do, although the one I just cited, I may love a little tiny bit more. But you guys do an incredible service with your podcast, and I recommend it to so many people. Thank you so, so much for sharing your wisdom and your friendship and your humanity. I don't know, you help make the world a little bit of a better place. Okay, bye.
I don't know that there's any better way to end the show. Erica, I can say on behalf of both of us, we love you so much and thank you for
Absolutely.
that. That meant the world to hear that. And we were so happy that you shared that. Also, not for nothing, I think we found our Scottish accent of the year right there.
Erica wins.
Erica,
George, I'm sorry to say, Erica now has the best brogue going there. And although is it, I've been saying brogue, but is Scottish considered a brogue? Is or only Irish considered a brogue? I don't know if they both are.
That I don't know. Because then you'd have to give the Welsh their own brogue, and I know how you're going to feel about that.
Well, and also, here's the problem. I can't Google it because I don't know how to spell brogue. What the hell? You know, as a Celtic word, there's going to be 17 vowels in there and an accent that you didn't know about. And then, here comes a silent Q.
Yeah.
What the, so
I'm sure they've got a brogue code, but I don't know what it is.
A brogue code. Gang, this is what you sign up for when you come to ComicLab. You get really sweet notes from Erica Mullen that warm your heart and make you feel like the world is an okay place. And then you get Brad saying brogue code. Oh my God. So you take your highs and your lows with ComicLab, really, is what you get.
But seriously, thank you. That was wonderful to hear.
It absolutely. And Erica, it warms our heart. And you are wonderful. You are a treasure to cartooning. You are a treasure to the world. And we are so happy that you listen to the show. And thank you for the kind words. And I'm so happy that even with Brad on the show that you enjoy it. So thank you so much for that. Zing! Got him! Unnecessary zing! Got him.
The presence of Brad notwithstanding, we were glad.
Can I tell you? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it next week when we talk about San Diego Comic-Con. But we had so many folks come up to the booth at San Diego being like, "Oh, Dave, I love the show. I love listening every week." And honest to God, Beth will confirm this. Every time they say it, I always say, even with Brad. It's so unnecessary and you're not even there to hear it, but I'm such a child. They were like, "Oh, Dave, we love the podcast," and I go, "Even the parts with Brad? All right, well, that's fine."
And now I would hope that they say yes, but I know there's a couple of them that go
You know, the shoulders, they don't say anything, but the shoulders do go up a little tiny bit and the palms come up. They're like,
Well, listen, even all of that notwithstanding, I know you've got to have me around the show at least to do one thing, and that is so that you've got somebody to say that you've been listening to ComicLab, the show about making comics and making a living from comics.
Your hosts have been my delightful friend, Brad Geiger, after 400 wonderful episodes. He is the creator and cartoonist of Evil Inc. over at evilcomic.com and the host and kind guide over at webcomics.com, which you should kindly go check out. And he's also one of the co-hosts of the fantastic new drawing show over at The Wrong Way Show with our pal, Kevin McShane.
And my friend Dave Kellett, the co-director of the comics documentary Stripped, and the cartoonist of Sheldon at sheldoncomics.com and Drive at drivecomic.com, and another one of the three handsome co-hosts of the new drawing show, wrongwayshow.com.
And the ComicLab theme song is used with permission from Andy Creighton over at theworldrecord.net. And this show and every show for which we are so eternally grateful is edited by the ever wonderful Matt Woodard over at woodsong.media. And Matt, we thank you so much for all your kindness and your friendship over the years and all the ways that you have improved Brad's audio from whatever train wreck it was when we sent it to you. Listen to this again with the unnecessary shot. I can't. My God, what's wrong with me today that I can't say something sincere? But Matt, seriously, we are so thankful to all of your work and your skills and your talents. You make every episode sound better. Thank you, my friend.
If you love ComicLab, I was going to read your.
400 episodes, gang. 400 episodes.
If you love ComicLab, you can rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, and you may hear your review featured on a future episode. And don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Spotify, where we are still, believe it or not, burning up those podcast charts.
And ComicLab is made possible by your support over at patreon.com/ComicLab. So I will go ahead and say that twice. Patreon.com/genuine thanks, my friend, for 400 episodes.
400 in the can and 400 more yet to come. It's going to be some great times of talking comics.
Amen.
So, Dave, I got to tell you, I was heading down to Reading Terminal Market last week, and if any of our listeners are familiar with the downtown Philadelphia area, it's right across the street from the convention center. So if you come down for Comic-Con at Philadelphia, you can go across the street to Reading Terminal, and you can get what I think are the finest cannoli in the world, bar none, at Termini Brothers right across the street. And I was over there at... Oh, hold on, Dave. Hold on. Yeah, come in. Lady, are you lost?
What's happening?
Hold on. Dave, I got to talk. Oh, you're the lady that talked to Dave at Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago? What are you doing with that? What are you doing with that piano? Why? You've got something that you want to talk to Dave, and it's got to be done in song? Okay. Do you want to work in sci-fi?
Oh, no.
Come on, let's draw some stars. I see you failing at your booth. You're so uncouth. You ought to be on Mars. I got an application. Just sign your name. Don't follow the road you're on. Do you want to work in sci-fi? It really should be sci-fi. Do a con.
Wow. Brad Geiger, everybody.
Key change. Do you want to work in sci-fi with robots, droids, and ships? You'll never earn much more than hugs with books on pugs. Don't give me any lip.
What's happening?
You need a little guidance, and I'm just the one to show you the proper way. Do you want to be in sci-fi? You really ought to be in sci-fi. Start today. My God. Oh, she just left the studio. That's all she wanted to say.
Well, oh my goodness, what a nice lady to come by.
And now, how she found my studio in Philadelphia, I have no idea.
First of all, I have no solid reaction to this. More like someone who has witnessed a car accident than anything else.